I'm embarrassed, first of all. I find her to be an extremely contentious um, individual. She actually picks fights during hearings. She does a lot of the name calling herself to her opposition. And I think the fact that she's not willing to answer a basic question in a very civil manner, which she always struggles with, then she deflects and goes right back to the same rhetoric of, the media. It's the media's fault. It's their fake news. It's because she wants to deflect and doesn't have an answer. And so I think it's extremely immature on her part. And it's unfortunate that somebody like that is in a very important position of leadership. I find it embarrassing.
Well, the Republican National Convention continues in Milwaukee, where Donald Trump's former rivals have been voicing their support for him. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has been addressing delegates overnight, and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who previously called Trump unelectable when she challenged him for the GOP nomination, had this to say.
We agree on keeping America strong. We agree on keeping America safe. And we agree that Democrats have moved so far to the left that they're putting our freedoms in danger.
Well, I speak to Amy Tarkanian, a Republican strategist and former chair of the Nevada State GOP. She joins us live from Florida. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
I mean, like Nikki Haley, I know from our previous conversations that you have been very critical of Donald Trump in the past. So what do you make of her coming out so publicly in favour of him now?
Well, it's disappointing, but it is the game of politics. And if you even look at the other side, you had then candidate Kamala Harris during the debate actually call President Biden a racist. But here she is thinking that he's just the most wonderful thing on the planet as she's, traveling the world along his side as his VP. So, it's unfortunate because I think that's one reason why so many people become disenfranchised and disappointed with politicians because a number of what comes out of their mouth is disingenuous.
Well, J.D. Vance, of course, who's been chosen as Donald Trump's vice presidential nominee this week, previously called him America's Hitler. So, yeah,
Right.
we've certainly seen examples of people changing their tune when it comes to Donald Trump. I mean, does this just go to show, Amy, that it is now the Trump party, that he has more control over the Republican Party than ever before?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's why you see Laura Trump, his daughter-in-law, who's co-chair of the RNC, and they've done an excellent job, whether if you agree with President Trump or not, at clearing out the House and putting in his own people, making sure that he has individuals in place that are purists, that are going to have his back, that are going to be loyal through thick and thin.
I wanted to ask you, Amy, about Ukraine, because the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson met with Trump yesterday, and he reportedly urged him to continue American support for Ukraine. Boris Johnson's been a big cheerleader for military aid for Ukraine, but obviously Trump has been sceptical about it in the past. And the choice of J.D. Vance as running mate, I mean, he has previously said, and I quote, he really doesn't care what happens in Ukraine one way or another. Is Boris Johnson pursuing a lost cause when it comes to persuading Donald Trump on Ukraine?
Well, I would hope not. I think that it would behoove President Trump to heed his advice. I would agree with Boris Johnson in that area. And I find it to be extremely reckless and irresponsible for somebody like J.D. Vance, who is a senator, to make statements like that, to say, that he doesn't care. You can actually say, hey, can we take a closer look at where the money is being spent? Maybe that's the concern. But to say he doesn't care, it shows callousness, and I think it shows ignorance.
I mean, there has long been an isolationist wing of the Republican Party, but how big would you say it is these days?
Well, I would say once again that the biggest concern is the financial side of it. I know that a number of Republicans say, "Hey, we're all for making sure that the world is a safer place, but do we really need to continue with the intervention in so many areas?" And one of them being Ukraine, because we do not just have an open checkbook, and it seems that we do constantly have an open checkbook, while many Americans, and including our veterans, this is the argument you hear. Many of our own veterans are suffering, they're homeless, or maybe they need mental health, help that they can't receive on their own. And so that's the concern, really. And I'm part of the Republican wing, though, that would like to see us continue to help those in need, like Ukrainians. But that's the main complaint that I hear.
Just finally, Amy, I wanted to play you this. I mean, you and I have spoken a lot in the past about the way the Republican Party has changed, and what we're about to hear probably illustrates this. Yesterday, our reporter, Jo Crawford, who's at the Republican National Convention, spoke to the Congresswoman and Trump loyalist Marjorie Taylor-Greene, and Jo asked her about the choice of J.D. Vance as Trump's running mate, and then things got pretty heated. Have a listen.
You know, I have some of the most highest amount of death threats because of people like you, because you choose to only take certain words from people, and then that's what you want to report. Shame on you. Shame on you.
But
Because
where's your evidence?
No. You're the problem. And where's this woman from?
The Times.
You're from
London.
the Times? Okay, you're ridiculous. And you're the problem in our country. You lie about people like me. This is the first time you've ever talked to me. I want you to know, I'm a regular person like you. I'm also a mom. I have 3 kids. And we have to put up with the most unreal amount of bullshit because of little liars like you that take your job and turn it into political activism. Your job is the press. You should report the news, not
And I'm
lie.
asking you for
Not lie
evidence.
about it. You don't get to ask any more questions. I'm done with you. Because you're the cause. You're
One
the
more
cause
thing, you
of
call
our
the
country.
Democrats a
No.
party
You're
of
the cause of
pedophiles.
our
Do you have any
country being
response to
divided.
that?
You're the cause of our country being divided. You're the cause of President Trump almost being assassinated. You're the cause of everything wrong
where's
in
your
America.
evidence for those
No,
claims?
you're done. You're done. Yeah, go
Okay.
back. Go
Thank
back.
you.
Amy, I know you come from a very different wing of the Republican Party to Marjorie Taylor-Greene,
Mhm.
but when you hear an elected Republican accusing a British journalist of somehow being responsible for the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, what is your response?
I'm embarrassed, first of all. I find her to be an extremely contentious um, individual. She actually picks fights during hearings. She does a lot of the name calling herself to her opposition. And I think the fact that she's not willing to answer a basic question in a very civil manner, which she always struggles with, then she deflects and goes right back to the same rhetoric of, the media, it's the media's fault, it's their fake news. It's because she wants to deflect and doesn't have an answer. And so I think it's extremely immature on her part. And it's unfortunate that somebody like that is in a very important position of leadership. I find it embarrassing.
Amy, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the Republican
Thank you.
strategist, Amy Tarkanian there.